Alright, welcome back to the SuperCoach Nuff channel. In this video we're going to review week 14 of the 2024-25 NBA SuperCoach season, as well as preview week 15. As always, a short turnaround means we do it all at once. But this week, week 14, a great week for myself with an 1167, which was good enough for top 100 in the weekly rank, which is a great effort. Especially given my limited NBA knowledge, and also I guess an overall rank increase of 33, which has seen me move inside the top 10% overall. So, I guess that's always like the first sort of goal I like to achieve with these sorts of games. If I can get in the top 10%, I'm doing okay. Obviously, from here we want to push up in towards the top 5 and so on, but probably we'll take top 200 first if we can get that, which, I don't know, a bit of quick maths should see us at around 7%. But we'll have a look at the team, how they went this week. So Devin Booker getting a 119, great score. Losing cash though, so I don't know how that works. Surely the break even somewhat reset this week. So good result there. Henderson with just the 66, losing a bit of cash as well. So it doesn't really compute when Daniels is more expensive, getting a 68 and increased his average. So I think Henderson might have had a low score drop out, or had a quite high score by the looks of it. So the 123's dropped out of his average now. So maybe that suggests the drop in cash. Anthony, though, with 56 was pretty solid. Thompson was fantastic with a 110. Great trading there. Daniels with a 68 continues to be solid. Butler only scoring 4 points. Has made some cash, but this week with a break even of 57, we do need to take advantage of that. Jokic as captain continues to smash it up with a 174. He's just head and shoulders above anyone else in this game, so pretty obvious, captaincy option every week. Ware with the 58 making us some good cash, which is great. LeBron with a 122, dipping in price a little bit, but as a keeper we're not too concerned. Tatum with a 109. Great result for him. Giannis with a 165 was epic. And Davis, I guess, one of the big talking points this week. Only scored 60 due to injury, but now also has traded to the Dallas Mavericks with Doncic moving the other way. So, absolute monster trade. And on the bench there, De Silva, 37 post with just the 23. So making a little bit of cash, but was hoping for a little bit more there. So in terms of the game day this week, we'll have a look. So week 14. So a comfortable victory over ChatGPT with just 840. So Steph Curry with 32 is a bit disappointing. So I'm guessing maybe Golden State didn't play a lot of games, given Post scored quite lowly too. Edwards, though, turning up with a 106. Reeves with a 97. Proved to be quite good. Might be a bit of a casualty of the Doncic-Davis trade, given that he does play as a guard. Towns with just a 62 and Hero with a 62, probably slightly below what we've expected from those guys in the past. And then also not getting a second point guard on field probably cost James a bit there. But a couple of thousands as well. So Reno's Rockets, far and away number one now, I'm pretty sure. Might actually have a look at the league, it's been a while. But a monster 1250. So Murphy with a 102, Thompson, Edwards, Mitchell with a 99, Maxey a 137 is massive, Tatum a 109. SGA with just the 74, but pretty sure OKC only had 2 games this week. That's why we traded him out. So got to try and get him back in this week. Had Jokic captain, Giannis as well. So pretty good stuff. Johnson with a 47. I think he's still relatively cheap. Um, 6.5's a little bit expensive for a cheapie, but could be a decent option. I'll have a quick look at no test eagles as well, getting the 4 digits. So had Braun with a 103. He must be a bit expensive now. Yeah, pushed up to 10 mil, so made 4.7 mil. If you held, I know he was in our team earlier in the season. Cunningham with a 109, Barnes with a 101, Harden 100, Captain Jokic as well. So I think, seems like most people are onto that now. It's just a case of the squad we've built around Jokic essentially. But yeah, we'll have a look at the league. So, surprisingly, on 11-2 alongside Rain. I know I've sort of been tracking a bit in terms of the last few weeks. I feel like I've been winning. Honestly, didn't think I was doing that well. So shows you how closely I've been paying attention to the ladder. Probably more focused on the overall type stuff. Um, but I guess going through, you can see a few teams 7-6, 6-7. So I think it's a best six, or like the finals are top six. So even to Bestiano, no Test Eagle, still a chance. Only 2 wins off that sixth position. In terms of total points, so Shane up to 42nd overall, which is fantastic. Hopefully you can keep that going, champion. Chat GPT sliding a bit off the back of this week's underperformance, but sure you'll bounce back there, James. The egg's not too far off. A bit unlucky in the head to head. I'm pretty sure I saw Michael was about sixth or seventh, sixth. With a less than 50% record, but doing quite well in the overall. So I guess the players as well. We'll quickly go through the other highlights this week. So Jokic, Giannis, Maxi top three. We've looked at Zubac at 16 mil with a 135. Mobley with a 130. I guess you can see again the centers point power forwards rather. Is the position to really target. Duran with 121 at centre. Murray as a guard with 112 is quite good. Thompson seems to be the highest sort of, one of the highest shooting guards. I guess Maxi Booker did have him covered, so at his price, that's awesome. Um, no sort of cheapies. Braun, probably the cheapest that turned up this week. So, uh, Yabusele, I guess, another cheap power forward centre. And then I don't know if there's too much else to worry about there. So I guess in terms of, actually before we do that, we'll go into break evens as well for those that are interested in that. Actually, I'll do the usual trick of going projections as well so we can see the worthwhile ones. So Peyton's still the best break even with a -6. However, currently doesn't appear sort of anywhere near the roster there for New Orleans. Bazelis with a a -6 break even as well. Only projected 23, but they have traded out a forward. I'm trying to remember who it was. Was it Levine? I tried to follow the trade stuff a little bit after I saw the monster trade. Um, Going through, I know Dillingham is probably the number one cheapie so far with trades. If we go to trade it in, yep, so he sits fourth overall. Um, so a viable option there at Minnesota. And the other one that I'm interested in now is Jackson Hayes. So with Davis gone, they're sort of lacking a big man there at the Lakers. It's not to say they'll trade one in this week before the end of the trade period. However, as part of the trade, they did bring in two power forwards, but one of them doesn't even appear on the depth chart. The other one is fairly deep, but Hayes is number one. So he did have a good week this week with a 63 score, so break even of 7. So he is probably the number one cheapie in my opinion. Obviously, Dillingham is a bit cheaper as well. So those are probably the two main ones. And I guess, I'll talk about depth charts now that I've sort of been looking at the trades. I have come across, the depth charts on ESPN. It sort of makes sense. I've always looked at them for NFL. Just for whatever reason, never occurred to me to look at them for the NBA. So you can see Hayes has been added in as the number one center. Probably needs to be updated later in the week with Doncic once he's sort of recovered from his injury. So perhaps Connect will drop out. Reeves will probably shuffle up to shooting guard, perhaps. Post, interestingly enough, as the cheapie at Golden State, nominated as their number one center. So that's interesting considering how poorly he scored. But as I said, with Curry scoring poorly as well, probably a case of they just didn't play a lot of games this week. You can see some other ones. A lot of them are just the trades. So I think it was Fox, Monk, Levine, all sort of traded different directions. Um, I don't know if they might have actually been in the direct trade with each other, Monk and Fox. Levine coming from Chicago. So you can see Dusonmu put in the list there. Um, Actually, another cheapie is a Resacker with, is it Johnson? I can't remember his name now. We're in the traded out category, potentially, if you haven't already done so. Maybe everyone already did, and I was just late to the party on that one. I'll have a look. I'm pretty sure it's Johnson's. Yeah, Jalen Johnson out for the season. So Resacker was a cheapie on the radar at the start of the year. I think he even appeared in my team at the start of the year. But he is a little bit more expensive now at 6.5 essentially. So obviously, if you're looking for a forward, uh, he could be a nice option also. So I guess also with the upcoming fixtures this week, so you can see the Houston Rockets have 5 games. So I think that's the right time too. So massive for Thompson. If you haven't already got him, I think you got to get him in. Um, Other than that, there's 3 is the minimum. But Boston have 3, so that's going to affect Tatum. Brooklyn, I don't think it's an issue for us. The Bulls, Mavericks. So even if he wasn't injured, I'd probably be looking to trade out Davis. Um, so we will definitely be trading out Davis. And so then the question is, do we go with Hayes, who is that cheapie, but you know, then leaves us with we are playing a rookie at power forward. Um, do we bring in, a straight swap for say Wemby? 82 last week was just off the back of, having one less game. Do we go a little bit cheaper, like someone like a Mobley, for example, who, break even of 53 should get that this week? Although Cleveland only have 3 games, so we probably wouldn't quite go there. Um, do we take advantage of the fixture that Houston have and try and find the Houston option in there somewhere? Might have to filter out. So again, if we have a look at the depth chart, so they've got Van Vliet. So it looks like Brooks or Sengen potentially, neither of which are listed there. How's that the case? What if I trade? I'll just trade out of centre for a second, see. So Sengen's just out and out centre. And who's the other? I've already forgotten the other name. Yeah, where am I even looking? Houston Brooks. So I'll just put there back in. So maybe he's just shooting forward potentially. Yeah, so Dylan Brooks. So shooting guard, small forward. So yeah, so only projected for a 65 this week. What's Thompson projected at? 152. That's massive. Um, I should do projections. That's probably the smart way to do this. So far and away the best option. So Jabari Smith projected at 88. Might have to go to the deeper depth chart to see where he actually sits. Depth, here we go. Don't know how they've come up with that. I can't even see his name on there. So I guess maybe we shouldn't necessarily take the projections as gospel. I guess Eason's there as well with the 71. He looks like he's fairly settled. You know, second behind Brooks potentially. Um, so yes, I've probably gone a bit too deep down this particular rabbit hole. Um, because I guess the other wrinkle to this is last week I know we talked about if I just put Davis back in, obviously we can't keep him, but you know we're sort of getting pretty close to what could be considered a full team. You know, obviously Thompson and Daniels, like the way Thompson's going, he could sort of get to that keeper price. Daniels might not quite get there, but you know if we cashed out the likes of Henderson, Anthony, where we'd get pretty close to getting that other sort of cheapie in there. Or sorry, that other keeper in there. Might not quite be SGA, but it could potentially be someone like Maxi. So, you know, even if you look at those three, so where, just get rid of the filters here. So, you know, we plug SGA in as a keeper. We obviously want him. Uh, well, you can see at the moment with just 4 million, it's a little bit tough. Just I can do break evens from here. So Dillingham would come in, and then we could bring in Hayes in the centre, but then we sort of find 5 million from somewhere. So you know it sort of doesn't quite work out for SGA, but you know with the price that we've got, we could you know squeeze Maxi in. You know, he's going to make a little bit of cash, which is handy. And, you know, it does look like a bit of a fuller team. We would then have to use a boost to get rid of Davis. So Davis out, we can just afford Wemby, which is nice. Actually, I should have just checked the projections since we've got them here. So Sabonis slightly ahead, but, you know, we like Wemby. So yeah, like Jalen Johnson projected at 121 and he's out for the season injured. So I don't know how they work their projections. Probably shouldn't follow them so blindly. So I guess like this looks nice when we structure the team that way. Um, I guess obviously no SGA is potentially a slight issue this week. Um, And I know I just talked about projections, but looking at the projections, like Tatum's going to be a bit down given they've got one less game this week. Um, but the rest of it looks quite good, if I'm being honest. LeBron's probably a bit lower than I would have expected. They've only got 3 games this week as well, so that makes sense. Guess we can't cover them all, can we? So I guess then is Hayes really that good of value if he's only going to play 3 this week? The break even is 7, and as a starting centre, you'd assume for at least a couple. I think the trade deadline is Thursday, so like I said, there could be a move before then, but you could get at least 1 game in. So yeah, they play Tuesday, so Wednesday morning our time they play. So you'd assume you get a game there, and then potentially after that you'd have to see. So I think I'm going to do it. Go for the pretty well full premium team. Obviously, from here trying to upgrade to SGA. It's going to really rely on getting some good cheapies along the way. As you can see, no others on the traded in list. But Hayes and Post, as we saw, both starting centers according to the projections. Dillingham, does Silver, I think, first off the bench. Butler, I think, is a dead rookie. Um, but we'll just have to cop that, I think, until a better option comes up. So, yeah, I think that's the play. So that's the team going in this week. This video's gone a little bit long, um, but I guess, sort of off the back of a good week, want to keep the momentum going. And as I said, I did sort of want to get it to this stage by this week. Happy to use a boost. Still got a couple of boosts up the sleeve too, which is pretty handy. It'll mostly be about trying to squeeze as much cash out of this bench to try and upgrade to SGA. We might have to try and find a couple other targets. Shooting guard, it might be Thompson's the season-long keeper from here. Daniels might be a luxury upgrade to finish. But yeah, I think we'll wrap the video up there. As always, if you've got any questions, comments, thoughts, please feel free to add them below this video. Give us a thumbs up if you enjoy the NBA content. Subscribe for all the fantasy sports content on the channel. And other than that, we'll catch you in the next one.